Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gaybros, Jose.
where are we today?
I am in San Francisco, the
And I
Tenderloin to be exact.
I like that you actually have to give like the specific location so people know where to hunt you.
So I recently started a new job, so I'm meeting a lot of new people, and they're like, "Oh, where do you live?" I say, "Oh, I just moved to the Tenderloin," and without exception, you just see this
Huh?
what sort
You
of
should,
expression.
you should say the tender knob.
We're not even close to the Tenderloin.
Uh, I mean, I almost used. I know my area was not built. It was not the tender knob.
No, I mean I would say Geary, like north of Geary, is like the Tenderloin. Like your Domino's north.
Okay. One of my best places in the city, Domino's, it was in the tender knob. Okay, that's fair. And yeah, I'm still in Chicago, enjoying life.
Excellent.
Yeah, so today, what did we watch?
So it's been 2 weeks since we've spoken because we were both traveling. This was my pick. I picked a movie called God's Creatures. Why did I pick it, you ask, Jose?
No, I don't have to ask it because it stars the theater. The first three programs already told me why did you pick it, because it's an A24 film.
I mean, after Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, I will watch anything A24 puts out.
There is no way that the quality will drop. Okay, so why did you pick it?
I picked this because it was playing at the theater closest to my house, and it has very good reviews, and I adore Emily Watson and Paul Mescal. Paul Mescal is the son, Emily Watson, and it's gratefully how do you say? It's wonderfully short. It's like right at 90 minutes, right?
Yeah. It's I appreciated that. There is like someone actually edited the script for just like landing exactly at that time.
And before we talk about whether or not we liked the film, what we liked about it or didn't like, finally an editor understood the size of a story and how much time we devote to it.
That's fair. That's fair. It's like I don't think. Okay, we don't have to go like too much into detail. I understand like that part. So let me ask you something. Before you brought it up into the podcast as something that we should watch, had you already seen it? Or you had tickets? Oh, okay.
No. I had seen it, and I asked you, would you be willing to watch this because I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and you said, let's do it for the podcast. So
that's fair.
I feel like I wonder why you asked that question.
I haven't said anything yet, dude. I haven't said anything yet. And before I say, let me just summarize a bit, because it's not like it's not really hard to summarize. I think that it's like just a 3-sentence kind of movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's a small village in the coast of Ireland where a working family, I mean, the story follows like mostly the mother, that is Emily Watson, and she works in a fish produce fabric where they actually like cats.
So
they fillet.
Process the fish. That's
yeah. And suddenly, by surprise, her son comes back that has been working for a very long time in Australia. I don't know if they mentioned like how many years, but it's something that is like they were not expecting him to come back. It was a bit more of by surprise.
If I recall correctly, and it's been 3 weeks since I've seen this, all the time they specifically mention is that they hadn't heard from him in like 3 years.
Yeah. So it's clear that they're like a bit disconnected. The son looks to have like a good relationship with the mother, not so much with the sister, a bit more neutral with the sister, but negative with the father. That's the only thing that we get. After a couple of days living there, he starts like his own oyster fancy business with oysters that the mother steals from the fabric. She basically steals to the fabric for that. Some days later, one of the girls that works with the mother, at least in the small village, makes police complain about being assaulted, and they start investigating the son. The rest of the story is a bit more about like how the mother wants to believe that the son is innocent, but the son becomes or starts behaving more and more as an asshole.
The only important thing I think you left out is that she lies to a court and to the police, not about knowing whether or not the assault happened, but she said my son was home that night and she knew he was not home that night.
Yeah, that is a bit stupid because he was in the bar and they could have asked anyone else in the bar and they would have to have lied too.
Yeah,
so, yeah, let's say that. Should I go into the ending or not?
Nobody's gonna see this film.
No. Basically, they live with the grandpa too. There is a moment that the mother feels some, how do you say, like kindness from the son because he's actually socializing with the grandpa that is senile already. But then when the grandpa dies, the son shows like a complete lack of respect for the situation, like trying to hook up with a girl and just like being like all around a jerk. The father tries to fight him, tries to get him, like straight, and they start fighting, and then the mother opens her eyes to my son is probably a rapist and he's a fucking asshole. So he goes to just face him on where they have like the oysters plant in the river. Well, in the ocean is basically at that point. And we have a very hilarious scene, I have to say, where Emily Watson just climbs back into the boat, and then we see like a resolution in 3 seconds. That's like the point that I feel is like someone edited the crap out of this script for just making like 90 minutes, because then we see like how the river just takes him away, and he dies. And the end.
Yeah, I mean, she basically, whether or not the editing was good, she makes the decision to let her son die in the tides that are coming in, even though she could have hit him with the boat.
Yep.
And then I think she ultimately apologizes to the girl because she was friends with the girl who got raped.
Yeah, she was like the boss. She was like basically the boss, and it looked like she had like a really good relationship with everyone, but because of she started like just missing some shifts, she gets fired from the rapey, like young girl, but before leaving, she's like the only one that saw the mother stealing the oysters, and she insinuates, she drops the bomb of well, you stole those fancy oysters for your son.
No, well, it's way more subtle. She says something about, oh, did you wonder where those missing traps went?
Oh yeah.
And the boss is like,
what?
There are missing traps?
But there is no resolution to that. It's another editing that is like, okay, what is this? Is he going to get fired too? What is going on? And then I think that the closing scene is like the girl just driving away, but the girl doesn't have like
real time. I actually saw it with my mother, and I leaned over and I said, every indie film needs a scene where somebody drives in real time.
Or any TV show like 6 Feet Under.
Shut up.
Just saying. you may be biased by that scene.
And Solaris.
In real time, that's true. But that's opening. That's a mistake. It's a closing scene. It's not an opening scene. Honestly, I don't think that there is anything wrong. I'm going to be like making fun of some stuff that I found hilarious on the movie, unintentionally hilarious. But honestly, I don't think that there is anything inherently wrong or bad with this movie. But I don't think that there is anything memorable or special about this movie either.
Are you done?
Oh, no. I also feel... I mean, I have like many other things, but if you want to actually stop me and just like interject, tell me how wrong I am, please just do.
So just knowing who I am, if a movie can kind of tug at my emotions, regardless of whether it was like an authentic tug of emotions or like I was manipulated, I typically walk away from that film thinking, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And I see this when I used to go to Sundance every year and review the films. I gave like everything I rated on a 4-star scale, and I gave everything between 3 and 4 stars. And then like 6 months later, it would come out and I would be like,
I don't remember this.
Barely above mediocre.
The thing is that this is a small, well-crafted, small story. You know, there is, from a production perspective, I think that the script is a bit weak. You know, it's like I think that the editing didn't land completely. There are like parts that it could be like a bit more developed, you know, and I feel like, okay, the story is not bad per se, but you don't develop enough where you are taking it. You tell me about like, hey, in this small Irish village, is that this behavior is still accepted, or you know, it's still like the normal thing, because when they actually talk about like what happened, it's a bit more, it's like, well, it's the normal, it's like, what is the surprise here, or why is this like wrong or anything, you know? People feel like a bit conflicted about like, why is that this village hasn't gone like through the Me Too movement, so it's still like a bit on the past. So from that perspective, I didn't feel like it was opening my eyes. I just felt that this movie could have been done like 20 years ago, and I think that it would have been mostly the same movie.
So it's timeless.
No, I just think that it's a bit tone deaf.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I walked away from this film feeling like I saw an intimate portrait of a mother having to make a decision, giving her son the benefit of the doubt, and then having to make another horrible decision, the right decision, when she realized that her son is a rapist. But the more I thought about it, for one, the plot hole you mentioned drove me fucking insane. There were like 9 witnesses that saw him and her together at that bar. He was buying her whiskeys.
Yep.
Like, there's just no way a judge would throw out that case. There was evidence.
Yep.
And then, like, neither one of us needs everything explained in a film ever, but I feel like nothing was explained in this. We don't know why the son left. They allude to a relationship between the rapist and the rapee
when they were kids. Yeah.
They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the history of the grandpa's oyster farm. They don't talk about, there's so many, so like the final scene where the mom goes to talk to the rapee, the girl, and she's like, you know, my mom was so happy to leave me this house. And I was like, what? You have a backstory? Like,
it's not developed.
Give us just a little bits more. That's my complaint. I was just left wanting more, I think. I think this was an incomplete story, and the plot hole has really like shaken my ability to support this film.
I mean, the thing is, like, I agree with you that there is like more stuff that it was just cut off, or they never really even thought about like putting it. And it's true that there may be like some implicit stuff, you know. It's like if you know a bit more about Ireland and about a fisherman village, is that maybe you can infer like some aspects. But if I compare it with What Will Burn, like the Galician one that we saw, that it also, you remember Fire Will Come?
Yeah.
There is like a story is like linear. There is not too many like implicit things. Talk about it is like the characters explain about like what they are doing and why they are doing it. But if you have like the context of, you know, like how a small village in the middle of the mountains operates, is like you can extract like more. In this case, I just feel it's like maybe there are like some stuff that I don't know about, like how important is like the business of the fishermen there, and it can also like infer a bit about like the grandpa, you know, like having that oyster farm. But other parts are like just plot holes. They're a bit more about like or you actually develop this character, or you don't try to keep it background, but you cannot try to do both.
The beauty of Fire Will Come is that it was slow and meditative, which God's Creatures was also. But also we just saw authentic interactions between people, and we had some understanding of some of those people and no understanding of other people, but we just saw things happen. In this film, there's just a million conflicts and they don't explain any of them. And so it's like, well, you have to give us something, like something. Why did he go to Australia? Maybe just that. Because I'm guessing he raped someone and ran away to Australia.
And I assume that 3 years where he was not communicating, he was in jail in Australia for raping someone there.
I didn't think about that. I thought he was just in Australia raping people.
In a raping tour. I honestly don't know, but the worst part of this is that, as you said, is that, hey, I would like to hear more. I wouldn't. I didn't care. Honestly, is that I usually connect. Unlike the kind of person, I mean, Galician people, we're like really close with our family, and it's like, I miss my family a lot, and it's like I can relate to this kind of story. So it's like, hey, the song comes back, and there is like this tension of, it's like, hey, you cannot go back in time to what it used to be, but it's like everything felt like so designed for the conflict that I felt like everything else that happened around, it was never really developed.
For those that don't know, Jose's family still is in Spain.
Still. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And it's not about me wanting more. It's just about, with how little they gave us, it felt inauthentic to me.
Inauthentic?
Yeah. And maybe if they had given us more information and helped us.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like, I didn't think about like the part that you say about like the editing of the script. I don't know if this is like a situation where they had to edit down. That maybe A24 told them, it's like, look, the millennial audience didn't want anything over 90 minutes that is a drama. So cut back. And maybe they trimmed like some stuff and they were not like too consistent about like trimming other for just not making it feel incomplete.
I think I know the answer to this question, but you think A24 is catering to millennials or Gen Z at this point?
I think that it's still millennials. Come on, I just think that Gen Z is like they're mostly communicating through TikTok. It's like 90 minutes is already like too long for them.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I was thinking like the wish fulfillment that Everything Everywhere All at Once was felt more Gen Z-ish, but yeah, it is millennials. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, if you remember, I mean, it's true that, for example, like the daughter in Everything Everywhere All at Once, she is what?
Like 25-ish or something.
25-ish. So that's millennial? Is still millennial?
No. Millennials cut off at like, I don't know where the cutoff is. But I would argue that probably that daughter was Gen Z, but the people who wrote the film and made the film, this is wish fulfillment, saying, hey, I wish my parents had understood me in my early 20s.
Yeah. So they're like portraying, they're like just projecting, basically. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the thing is like this, it felt like a bit too conventional for being an A24 film.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, Emily Watson is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
She's fantastic in everything.
The acting is pretty good. The acting is good. It's not the problem of the actors. Yeah.
Even the daughter, maybe she has a big career in Ireland, but I was like, who are you? Where did you come from? You're amazing. But yeah, no, you're right. It's conventional and has some major flaws. Not that it's a bad movie. I'm going to score it above a 5, but it's not.
Honestly, let me just tell you, it's like when I check like the score when you told me Ghost Creatures, I look it up, and the score is a 91 in Rotten Tomatoes. And the thing is that it's the classical movie that is like, it makes total sense that it's a 91 in Rotten Tomatoes, but then when you actually check IMDb or any other score, it's like it's going to be like significantly lower. It's a bit more of it's okay. It's not bad per se, but it's nothing like too special. It's hard to actually feel opinionated against it. It's not perfect, but I didn't feel like it damaged my brain.
Do you have the? Oh no, I can pull it up right now. I want to read the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes. Painfully raw yet rewarding, God's Creatures explores the limits of a mother's love with an outstanding Emily Watson leading the way. funny. So yes, Emily Watson was outstanding, and maybe if we were parents or mothers, we could understand this, like, the desperate need to protect your kid, but then needing to be a good person. I don't know. I just feel like maybe I wasn't the audience for this.
I honestly, I don't think that you need to be a parent for actually like just like relating to a story like this. You know, you can be a son. It's like, you can actually understand like the mother or sort of like the love of your parents. In this case, just think that the conflict doesn't happen until half of the movie, until 40-45 minutes, and then it dominates the movie 100%. It's like a complete shift. A complete paradigm shift. Is that everything is at very slow pace until the police comes to talk with Emily Watson, and then everything is like, oh my god, doubt and everything. From the beginning, honestly, I think that when I opened it on Prime Video, that is where I rented it, I think that it had like a tag of thriller, suspense, and the first 30 minutes I was like, yeah, the first 30 minutes, like, what the fuck is going on here? There is no thriller or suspense. Even, you know that at the beginning, one of the kids dies, like the son of one of the fishermen, or the fisherwoman that they work in the factory.
That's thought that it's foreshadowing, Jose. It's foreshadowing.
Sure, it's foreshadowing. But what I thought when he came back by surprise, and he actually heard is like, hey, whatever the name is, Matthew just died. Oh, cool. Is it he killed her? Definitely he killed her.
That's what I thought too. I was like, did he murder his friend?
Yeah. It was a bit more like, okay, this guy is a sociopath, at least, and as much as a serial killer. It's like, it's between. It's to be decided, but it's like, he's already evil.
Yeah, and there's all those illusions, like, so at the wake of the kid who dies at the beginning, they talk about how certain Irish fishing families believe it's bad luck to learn to swim, and that's why the kid drowned. And so I guess maybe there are all these allusions to cultural things we're not getting from Ireland, but if it can't, get across a message in a satisfactory way without that.
I'm going to make a reference to one of the best shows, one of the best movies that we watched, that is Casablanca. One of the most hilarious things of Casablanca is when they actually talk about, like, you remember that time in Paris, and they saw the Arc of Triomphe, and they play La Marseillaise on top of it for saying, it's like, where this took place, it. And on this is that they saw like first all the coast, everything, and it was like, does this take place in Ireland? And then the first thing that they say is that they name Emily Watson. Is that she's working, it's like Ellie, and it's like, well, that sounds like an Irish name, but it could still be anywhere, And the next scene is actually just people dancing, to Irish folk. There is this so on my face that is like, now if you actually say Ireland, I'm going to feel like this is so over exposition.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I just felt it's like, look, I get it, probably you are from Ireland and you're proud of these things, but I think that it feels like pretty heavy-handed, And for me, it felt like a very amateur movie. It's clear that you don't have like a lot of experience doing this stuff.
And to be fair, unless I'm wrong, there's two directors. One has no directing credits at all, and then I couldn't quite pull up another woman. It's both women, which I find interesting. I'm guessing there's some sort of autobiographical.
Yeah, they made from their village or whatever. The other one has like a couple of random things, They had like an episode in the OA.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
One first time, and then I would also call the what was it, the AO?
The OA. Yeah, it was like this show on Netflix.
Like 3 episodes. I was like, nope.
No, that was not good. She also has like a movie not rated even, so no one probably really watched. Called Defeats, that it went to Sundance, but everything goes to Sundance.
Everything goes to South by Southwest. Sundance has taste.
Remind me, how long was the clapping ovation, the standing ovation that they did for 3,000 years of Longy?
That was Cannes, not Sundance. Also, Sundance discovered Soderbergh, Tarantino, Fincher, so just up on Sundance.
Okay. It's clear that someone here used to go to Sundance and respects it. Okay. honestly, this was a movie. I was like really tired when I watched it on Monday, but I just felt like it's not about like how I feel today. It's about like this is not a memorable movie.
Yep, I agree. And that's why I appreciate the perspective of having seen it 3 weeks ago. Now I could...
I calm down.
I wouldn't have asked you to watch it today versus 3 weeks ago.
Honestly, I spent a while I was wondering, while I was watching it, wondering, is that did he saw it before recommending it? Did he really? Like a bit like confused about like, no. Probably he actually heard about it. He likes Emily Watson. Emily Watson is great. You know, probably it's like just like, hey, let's see. Maybe this is good. Maybe this is bad, as we do like from time to time. But no, you actually knew. Okay.
I knew.
Could you watch it
I
again?
didn't have perspective, the perspective that only time can give me.
Okay. Or the New York Times review.
But yeah, and I didn't read the New York Times review even to this day, so I don't know.
Maybe it's a critic pick, or maybe not. Who knows? So let's go over the questions. Would you watch it again? You ultimately no. So my answer is also no. But let me just ask you: if you also like step into the room and your husband is watching it, would you say, I will come back later?
I'd probably sit down next to him and pull up TikTok. I am a millennial.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't watch it again. I cannot picture any situation where actually this movie would be playing around me.
Yeah,
Not
that's fair. I mean, it's not, there's no guilty pleasure about it. It's too slow the story is too slow to not take in all 90 minutes to get anything out of it.
Yeah. And would you recommend it?
Only you.
Why do you hate me so much? No,
I did recommend it to one person maybe a week ago, so I guess the answer is yes, but it surprises me. Maybe I was just so confident that person would never see it that I was trying to say, I saw an Irish film.
Oh yeah, you told me. I cannot picture any situation where I would recommend this. This is like the kind of movie that it has the potential for me to recommend to my parents, but I think that they would be bored. And it's not because it's like slow and meditative.
It's just a boring story.
It's just a boring story. It's like I just feel like I'm pretty sure that this has been done before, and it has been done better in other cases. No? Do you think that you would remember it?
I mean, as you said in the plot synopsis, it's like a 3-sentence description. There's not much to forget. The mom lies, kills her son. A rape happened. The end.
So you will remember it.
Yes, I will remember this film.
I won't remember it. You can ask me like in 2 weeks and I won't remember it.
Right.
But we can just leave, it's like I'm not even saying like in 6 months in the future. I'm saying like 2 weeks from now. I had to say that I love at the beginning of the movie, I don't know if it's the sister or the rapee. I think that is the sister, the one that actually says a quote that includes ghost creatures in the sentence that I actually just made me roll my eyes, literally. Like, okay.
Did you ever watch Family Guy?
Yeah.
There was that little clip where Peter's watching a film and they're like, oh, they said the name of the movie. They said the name of the movie.
It's exactly that. I'm like, look, I get it. It's that you just name it and you have to actually say why you name it. But it's like, this is another amateurish kind of thing. It just made me feel it's like by this name, by Ghost Creatures, I'm not going to remember it. It actually reminded me of another movie, like the first movie that you and I went to watch to the cinema. That it was about like a priest in a small Irish community. You remember this? We had discussed about like this movie like 3 or 4 times.
The reason I have this face on is because the first movie we saw in the movie theaters together was I'm So Excited, and you can't pretend that didn't happen.
But no, okay, but that was with someone else. I mean, I'm talking about like the first time that like kids sound like bro dates.
Yeah, of course I remember it. It was Brendan Gleeson, right?
I think so. Yeah. Brendan Gleeson. I need to remember is like this has been good. No, it's not the Banshees. Mr. Mercedes Calvary. He was Calvary, 2014.
Yeah, and he was a priest, right?
Yep. In a small Irish community. And I remember liking this one. I don't remember like much of it, but it was having more of a touch of black comedy to it.
Is it directed by the same guy who did In Bruges?
I don't think so, but he actually has like a new movie.
Like, two people have very similar Irish names, and I always confuse them.
No. It's not the same director, but the funny thing is that the guy that did In Bruges, that it also works with Brendan Gleeson in other movies, I think. I mean, Brendan Gleeson was in Bruges.
He sure was.
Yeah, and he has a new movie. Martin McDonagh has a new movie that it actually takes place in a small community where the main character, that is like this guy that is in all of his movies, I don't remember right now.
I actually saw the trailer for this last night in front of the new
Colin Farrell.
Kate Blanchett film Tar,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh shit, I've got to see that." When I saw the trailer,
When I saw the trailer, I also felt it's like, yeah, Blake is going to walk towards this.
Sure am.
Yeah, you know that I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, I like Three Billboards outside of Missouri.
You have ruined Frances McDormand for me after that comment.
Dude, that was pretty good. That was like pretty fucking good.
It was super good, but now I can't unsee it. I texted Jose and I was like, "Hey, have you seen the new
Ryan Murphy
series on Netflix about Jeffrey Dahmer?" And you're like, "The one where that the main actor's cosplay is Frances McDormand?" I was like, "No."
And you didn't see it, but it's like I even showed it to my boyfriend, and he's not that familiar with Frances McDormand. He's like, "Oh yeah, he looks like the woman from Nomadland." He's like, "Yeah, there are other stuff that you can remember from, but yeah, she won an Oscar for that." So you said that you will remember this. I won't. But do you think that there is anything artistic about it?
I'm kind of scraping at the bottom of the barrel here, but certainly Emily Watson is a powerhouse. Her performance, I think all of the acting is solid.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I wouldn't call out the direction, the photography, the writing, nothing. So just the performances, yes.
I'm a bit torn too, because I like the photography quite a bit, but it's cheating. Because there is nothing like too special. Is there not even like the angles or like the kind of if we would talk about other movies in the future that the photography is like way better than this, like way more iconic. In this one, I just had the feeling that if someone showed me a snapshot of this movie, I would recognize that it's from it. But I would say that that's pretty. It has to be Ireland, and Ireland is pretty. So I think that it's like it's a bit cheating, and Emily Watson does a good job, but the problem is that there is so much that you can do with a very mediocre script. So I'm going to be changing my answer. I'm going to go with no. I don't think that there's anything artistic about it.
That's against the rules.
Is it a timeless piece?
Yes, as you said. If this had been made 20 years ago, it'd be the same film. 20 years in the future, it's going to be the same film.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we can do better stories about these nowadays. I feel
like this particular timely or timeless piece is more about like, does this film matter at any point in time? And the answer is no. It will never matter.
That's a really good way of putting it. I'm going to go with yes, from the perspective that this story, like, what is like the value behind about like the love of a mother and just being willing to risk herself for a son that is an ungrateful bastard, is like, this is always going to be timeless. It can be done way better than this, but I mean, the topic is not bad per se.
Agreed.
Would you turn this into a TV show?
Absolutely not. It would be like The Killing. Do you remember how boring The Killing was?
Was that the one with Gillian Anderson?
No, it's about, I think it takes place in Seattle, and it's about the girl gets murdered and it's just raining all the time, and the plot never moves forward for like 10 episodes. Everybody loved it. It was based on a Danish series, I think.
Oh wow, with Joel Kinnaman. Oh well. I don't think that I watched this, but it sounds terrible. When they
I
actually,
was so bored, and they did a second season.
it looks like they didn't even a third one.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Did you watch actually Fargo, the TV show?
I still have not, no.
You should, because it's something that I thought that it's like there is no way of adapting this into a TV show, because or you don't make, nothing happens like for 7 episodes out of 8, because it's basically like what the movie is like everything is like very slow, some stuff happens, but you could condense it even more if you wanted. In the show is like just pretty well made, honestly, and that every season like changes the characters and everything. Some seasons are better than others, but it's like, what is this woman like? Kristen Stewart?
The love of my life.
Yeah, so she's on the 3rd season, I think that it is, and it's really, really good.
That's where she met her husband, Jesse Plemons.
Correct. Yeah. Let me just. Sorry, that was like
I
just.
wonder if her wedding was anything like Melancholia.
That she actually just ran away crying because she realized that the war was going to end.
She's like, yeah, I don't want your wedding gift.
I don't know. A part of me would want to rewatch that.
I will watch Melancholia once a week, literally.
It used to be like your phone wallpaper when I met you.
What a pretentious dick I used to be, apparently. I apologize. I'm sorry.
But I'm not imagining it. It used to be that.
I don't remember, but I'm not saying it wasn't. That sounds like, Blake.
Something you could. And probably like the blocking screen would be Bjork. But the part is like probably that will still be today.
The ringtone was Bjork. The wallpaper was Melancholia.
Okay. And the lock screen was Tom.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about like rewatching it again. But in any case, I digress. So let me just go back to the questions. I wouldn't turn this into a TV show. I'm surprised that you say no, because earlier you were saying that it's like it left you wanting a bit more.
I'm saying I would have been more invested if we had had any sort of information about the myriad conflicts that were there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Do you think that this could have been a short?
Yeah, this could have been like a 4-minute short.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised when you said at the beginning about like someone actually edited this and they realized that there was nothing else that you could extract out of this. And for me, it's like, yeah, they edited it for still keeping it as a movie, but they could have edited even more and just making it a short of 30 minutes.
I probably didn't choose the words I wanted to represent my thoughts, and just meant this could have easily been a 3-hour film. Slow, meditative, hey, let's watch people farm oysters and really get to the bottom of this fishing village. And they didn't make us do that. That's what I was trying to say.
At the end, we're going to have to be thankful.
Yes, because...
we're making it short. Do you think that this movie could have been better?
Yes. Get rid of that fucking plot hole. That's the dumbest plot hole I've ever heard. And plot holes don't usually bother me, and that one was so gaping that I was like, what the hell?
Uh, I think that they will have to review the whole script, is that remake it from the beginning.
Oh yeah, no, that was just the first step, was getting rid of. There's a lot of steps that need taken.
Did you watch Double Indemnity by Billy Wilder?
No.
It's a noir movie, and if you look it up online, it has like a huge plot hole. There is like a scene where a door to an apartment, instead of opening inwards, it opened outwards. And what they were saying is like no one could design a house, with the apartment door like going outwards. But this is on purpose for just making the scene feel in a specific way.
Oh, interesting.
And they say that this is a plot hole. They said this is like completely suspension of disbelief for actually like just getting into the scene. People usually call it like one of the biggest plot holes of history, and they call it because they don't watch like these run-of-the-mill kind of movies that they get forgotten like 2 months later. This is like pretty common, that you don't expect the audience to question if something is realistic or not. They just expect you to take away. It's like, oh my God, is the mother lying? Is that yeah, but the police is not only going to be asking the mother, they're going to be asking everyone that was in the bar. They're going to go to the bartender, and probably they have cameras too.
And he probably paid with a credit card or a debit card. I mean,
yeah, there are so many things. And the thing is that they're going to be, so everyone in the bar is also going to be lying about they didn't see the mother either. Because what they were saying is like they didn't leave the house. That is a double lie. Is they lied about like, I never was in the bar and the boy was with me at home.
It really bothered me.
Yeah, and it's just it's mediocre. That part is like completely mediocre about like, look, you don't have experience doing this, and the problem is that you didn't have people reviewing the script for telling you, dude, this doesn't fly. You have to just remake this thing. But yeah, oh well. So before the scoring, I think that the last time you asked me about the squid and the whale.
Yeah, and you remembered a lot.
I remember a bit. I don't think that
Didn't last time you asked me about the Matt Damon film Cold Water?
That was before. It was Stillwater. Yeah, that was like the previous one. Yeah. So, you know that I love this cinema in Chicago called the Jane Siskel. They had a mystery movie poster sale the other day, and we bought like 10 posters. We didn't know what we got, But when we started opening at home, what I told my boyfriend is that, look, if they are terrible, they would make for cool wrapping gifts. But I was still like just hoping about like, hey, maybe we'll get like, I don't know, like a Kubrick one or something like this, like something cool out of the 10 posters that we got. We got like one repeated. Wow. And yeah, and there was one about like this documentary they did of Woodstock like some years ago, like 9 years ago or so. And they did one.
Just 9 years ago, not the one from the 70s, because that's the greatest documentary that was ever made. Woodstock, 3 Days of Peace, Love and Music.
That's from the 70s? Why didn't I hear about it until 10 years ago?
You don't have the best when it comes to documentaries.
Well, that's true. When it comes to documentaries, I have no fucking idea. Okay, we got that one that it looks like it's pretty good. And then we got one about a movie presented by Pedro Almodóvar that I never heard about, that it was called El Ángel. That it actually got like a certain regard in Cannes, like years ago. But that made me talk with my boyfriend about some of the Almodóvar movies, and I wanted to ask you to actually give me like a summary, like a brief summary about Volver.
You've already asked me that, and the answer is I can't tell you. I forget that film every time I watch it.
Oh my God!
All I remember is that Penelope Cruz, her mom pretends to be dead. She hides under the bed at her sister's place, I think.
Right.
And then Penelope like sees the mom in the flesh, and she's like, a ghost.
Okay. I'm realizing that I asked you already about too many. We have only been doing this for a couple of months. already commented about all
It's
of
because
these.
there's so many that we know the other person remembers. There's only a handful that we're pretty sure the other one forgot.
Okay, tell me what AI was about.
Nope.
AI? Dude, I think that we...
From The Sixth Sense was there.
Correct.
Will Smith?
No,
No, Jude Law.
Jude Law. Good. Jude Law was there.
Oh. Wait, this is the universe where you can buy a robot. And so these people bought a robot to replace their real dead son. And then when something goes wrong with the robot, they either fix it or throw it away. That's all I'm going to be able to give you.
That's... I would say that that's like half of the movie.
Okay.
Because what happens is like the kid was not dead. The kid was dying. He had like a terminal illness, but miraculously he recovers. Yeah.
So they get rid of him, and Jude Law is like the king of the misfit.
He's like a gigolo kind of thing. So when the kid is abandoned, that's applause to how that kid aged. I always say it every single time that we talk about him. After he goes into Wild Adventures, it turns a bit into Pinocchio, where he goes into this city that is like basically submerged for just trying to find like the fairy that it will turn him into a real boy.
Okay, this is ringing a bell, but I feel like I remembered enough.
You remember enough, and I will tell you that this is like one of those podcast episodes that I'm afraid of people listening, because we talk in a very negative light about Spielberg during this episode.
I'm sorry. Have you seen the trailer for his new film?
Oh yeah,
Every
it looks
time I see
terrible.
it, I just want to vomit. Like, not every film has to be about how cool it is to make films, how magical it is when you're a kid to discover filmmaking.
And it sounds like a bit autobiographical, no?
I'm sure.
That trailer looks terrible. I saw it we saw it yesterday when we went to see Bros, and I felt is that this is something that I want to forget. It's not that I'm going to forget, it's that I want to not have seen this.
For any Spielberg fans out there, Jurassic Park, Munich, great films.
Yeah, I mean, it's Schindler's List is a good film. The Color Purple is a good film.
I haven't seen The Color Purple. I turned off Schindler's List after an hour. I was like, this is so boring.
Oh my God. How old were you?
7, probably right between 17 and 18.
17 years, okay. I'm surprised, dude. I mean, I think when I saw it the first time, it's like, this is cinema.
You say so.
Okay, should we score Ghost Creatures? Talking about cinema, should we score Ghost Creatures?
Yes.
So this was your pick. So after this conversation, I lowered it a bit. For me, it's going to be a 5.
No, mine was going to be a 6.5, and then I went down to a 6. I still think this is better than the average film in cinemas right now. It's a little bit better, so above a 5 for me.
So we're not going to be like recording about Bros. We're not. But both of these movies were released more or less at the same time.
Yeah.
What would you score Bros?
Probably a 6.5.
But the thing is that I was thinking about this too, and it's that I could score Bros higher than this, and it's not that either of them are a good movie, but I have to be a bit biased towards like, hey, this is representation. I'm making like a mainstream gay rom-com. It's groundbreaking. Not good, but groundbreaking.
Least, God's Creatures made me think about the conflict within that mother. Like, there were things that I thought, like, what emotions are they feeling? What decision would I make? How far would I go to protect? I only have a husband and a dog. I would throw the dog away. I'd protect the husband. I didn't think anything about Bros. It's like I turned my mind off and then left the theater slightly disappointed. It's like most Grindr hookups.
But then why would you score it higher?
Because it was more entertaining. Ooh, No, I can't explain this. These scores are just ridiculous. They're not consistent. Let's not pretend.
No, that's fine, because it's like when I watch on Monday God's Creatures, and on Tuesday I actually watch Rose, like back to back basically, and I actually couldn't stop thinking about like, I don't like this either, but it's like, overall, I think that I'm going to be like remembering this movie way more than I'm going to be like remembering Ghost Creatures. One of them is lofty and aspirational, that is Ghost Creatures, and the other one is a bit more self-aware of what it truly is, but at the same time is groundbreaking from the perspective of who is behind the movie.
But let me ask you this. How much of Showgirls do you remember versus Celine Dion's Boating? And that's my point. Just because you remember it doesn't mean it's a better film.
Actually, if we go to that, we talk about Showgirls in the podcast. I give it a 3, and to Celine Dion Goes Boating, I give it a 3 too.
So for you, that French masterpiece is the same.
I don't think that anyone would define it as a masterpiece, dude. I don't think that anyone would define it as a masterpiece. That was an adventure. I think that it was interesting to watch it, but I would definitely watch Showgirls tomorrow again.
I will never watch Celine Dion's Boating ever again. Ever.
That was supposed to be like a 100 episode special that we scrapped at the end. That we were going to be like going boating.
Okay, if we make it to 250, I will watch it.
Okay, I'm going to add it to the list here. 250, Celine Dion Goes Boating. Okay, anything else to say about Ghost Creatures?
Nope, I think we've probably spoken way longer than the film itself. No, I don't want to add anything else. Thank you.
Of course. I rest my case. I think that we said everything that there is there to say about this. And as this was your pick for the next one, I wanted us to explore a bit more about like what is good photography. I don't know how this like popped in my mind a couple of weeks ago, but a movie that I watched at the beginning of the pandemic and it hasn't left my brain. And it's not like a movie that I feel like is catered to me. It's In the Mood for Love, and I would love to rewatch this like with you and just like discuss it.
It came up. I can't remember why, but we were discussing Wong Kar-wai.
Yeah, when we're talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that's right. That's how it's given.
Yeah. But let's just leave it to next episode.
Okay, next time.
Yeah. And to everyone out there listening to us, thank you so much for putting up with us and our pretty random ramblings from time to time.
And wash your hands.